In the following video, I'm going to attempt to read with higher clarity a Wikipedia article based on the information I was able to gather just from the links on the Wikipedia article, and also another source or two. In 2006, Registry Cleaner and InternetShield were software products on a website called softwareonline.com, and both of these caused complaints. Based on the Consumer Protection Act, the Washington State Attorney General's Office sued the site's owners and or its LLC or other. Some or both of which then agreed to a settlement, and the terms were pay $150,000 in civil penalties, $40,000 in legal fees, and refund any customers. And after they complied in full with the above, and that's all that's listed in the Wikipedia article, it mentions a suspension of $250,000 extra. So, okay, here we go with my questions first. Was this down from a $440,000 requirement with refunds? Was the $250,000 used to force the refunds? The details are in a few items, like Software Online Complaint and Software Online Judgment PDF files available through Amazon.com. Coinkadinkly, on Amazon.com, you can also read a book under a /dp/random string of characters, because I'm not including the title of the book because of a reason I'm going to bring up. And a Wikipedia article that this is found under, dealing with a person named Plummer with 2 M's. Also included are the following links. Most of these links are from a video that was on the internet. A link to Bleeping Computer, Slow Login, Processes Running, Pop-ups, Media Pipe. Another one, Attorney General's Office sues and settles Washington-based SoftwareOnline.com. The complaint and judgment, PDF files on Amazon. Computer World article, InternetShield vendor pays to settle deceptive ad suit. Shareware Online's webpage apparently having the word plumber.shareware.online.com and then some characters, and then partners McAfee X. Is that really McAfee? Another website about Windows NT for Start Menu watermark. And then we have Shareware Online through their ad server, store, and just the website as archives. And I'm going to include an archive.org link to a YouTube video that was taken down for copyright strike. This is a correction video where a person removed all of the errors anybody could point out in a previous video talking about this. And because it had less wrong with it and less things to criticize, it was the one that got copy striked when the original uncorrected longer video that has the corrections in the description is only unlisted. Now, from a superficial look at the video, it appears to have some of or all of the same links. Maybe more, maybe fewer. The video title is very provocative, including the one that's unlisted. And we're going to be talking now about my problem with the subject matter. But let's do the software first. A very common tactic done by scumbags on the internet, not specifying which ones, or if I'm specifying any of them, would be to provide a product that goes nowhere, does nothing, and gives you nothing in return, but technically does so legally it's not complete garbage, and it would go through and nag you into giving them money. Now, I want to point out that hindsight's 20/20, especially if you're looking at your own ass. If you can do that. But you might have noticed that if you use voluntarily any product that keeps demanding subscription fees, This is a very similar model in principle. Obviously, not the same thing if it's running 60 some odd processes, slowing down your login, doing pop-ups, and leaving crap behind when you've removed the program. This is a common problem in the past and still is. And some of you have turned your lives into this mess. Just remember, this is some tough love here, but no, really, you need to fix your lives a little. But let's get this done. The subject matter of this is not Dave Plummer. That's Plummer. That's how his name is spelled. That's not the subject matter. The company name was softwareonline.com, and it had InternetShield and Registry Cleaner, possibly the most generic names you could come up with that would make it to where search engine optimization for the website might work, but trying to find judgments against them in the future would be difficult. Hint, hint. But generic named website with generic named products that do generic behavior that turns out to be malware, period, full stop, it's malware. I'm allowed to judge the product of a corporation just like I can say that Teslas suck. It's an opinion. Okay. But let's talk about the judgment. Did the Washington State Attorney General threaten them with a $250,000 flat fee on top of it as a punitive damages thing to force them to refund people, probably for a lot less, as a way to wrench out justice? On top of $40,000 in legal fees, paying the state to sue you. $150,000 in civil penalties, the actual get-out-of-jail money mode, because it's against a limited liability company running a website. There's no human to throw in prison. Okay, even if it's just one person. You can set up an LLC to own your house and your car and everything else really valuable and anything else that might have liability and get better business rates rather than personal rates for car insurance, house insurance. And it has the limited liability thing of saying you can't sue me for what a company did. The company owns the house. Now you're dealing with, you have to actually provide proof. It makes it a lot harder to sue you. Okay. And needless to say, me saying this has these generic names to it, which is great for search engine optimization, but really hard to figure out who you're really dealing with. Is that fair? You'd have to look at softwareonline.com's archive of whether or not they explicitly said they're an LLC, which they probably didn't unless they were stupid. You're supposed to be an LLC if you're doing software. Trust me. But did they hide who was really behind it? Did it work? Was that ever intentional? Should you do that? Any company that tells everybody who's really running it, unless they absolutely legally have to, is stupid. Don't leave yourself up. Don't dox yourself. I'm agreeing to that. Okay? But was the product, as demonstrated in several videos I've watched, obviously a scam? Legally speaking, it's a legally no. But on an opinion level, it's garbage. It was scamware. It's malware. This was extremely common because legally speaking, you fly between the laws. So that's done. And am I blaming Dave? No. Now let's evaluate Dave. I've seen Dave's videos repeatedly. Lots of them. And it does seem that he brings up his used to was's and has been status of having written the task manager for a piece of software for an operating system, that kind of thing. Cool. And other things. A little too much maybe in some people's opinions. I don't care. That's fine. I've seen his videos and double-checked most of it and found it useful and informative and actually entertaining, which is kind of rare. But the video that's longer, that has admitted errors in it, that corrects the errors in addendums that are put in the description because we're not allowed to edit our videos after we post it to get rid of whatever the hell YouTube's mad at us for. That video is unlisted. And it has more information, and I'm going to give a direct link to it, and I'm going to back up a copy of it because it might be next on the chopping block. It was over a year ago, or less than a year ago, these videos were posted. But my complaint here that I'm going to get to at the 10-minute mark is about the corrected video that couldn't possibly have anything you could complain about legally. And that video was taken down for a copyright strike. Shutting people up by deliberately picking the most piss-ass method for taking them down for. Motherfucker. Except me naming the company Software Online, by definition, is a violation of their trademark, not copyright, and InternetShield and Registry Cleaner, even though these are grossly generic names, when associated by saying, this is a trademark statement I'm making, knowing full well, for examples and education purposes. Yes, I have to include a disclaimer. InternetShield by softwareonline.com and Registry Cleaner from softwareonline.com. Those are trademark and copyright examples, maybe or maybe not, depending on your argument. And me saying Dave Plummer with 2 M's isn't copyrightable or trademarkable. It really isn't. A person's name isn't allowed to do that under most conditions. However, if I put it in a particular format or mention the name of the book, which is an amazon.com/dp/ a bunch of characters, I am using a trademarked and or copyrightable item, name, designation, etc. in a video. And that is a legal excuse to fucking take the video down as copyright. I can't mention the person I'm debunking who's a jerk without mentioning their name. Someone copywriting their name or trademarking it sometimes is valid, but using it as a bullshit method to take someone's statements down that are factual, undisputed, and more importantly, the entity that did this took down the video with nothing inaccurate in it. That is that holy dog shit, what a bitch ass thing to do. And now we go into it. Was that Dave Plummer with 2 M's? The reason I'm saying that way is I'm not going to use his name by spelling it, which legally would be me using something that could be under trademark. Saying Plummer with 2 M's and saying Dave probably isn't, but let's go for it. Did this individual do this? I don't know, and you don't either, and that's not relevant. It isn't. Because in the process of doing a video, you might have noticed I don't include anything that can be copyright striked. I've had my channels torn down for bullshit excuses by people who were not the copyright holder, they just lied about it. Or the patent holder. I literally displayed a patent of somebody who died decades ago, and someone said, oh, that's my patent, and I'm claiming a copyright to it, and that's technically accurate, and that's the best kind of accurate there needs to be, and the video was taken down. I've lost channels over this shit. And I'm going to say something rather bold. It's virtually impossible for any complaint about your video on YouTube to be accurate if it ever says the word copyright. Because I'm in America, and we steal from everybody, remix, reuse, and more importantly, I do commentary videos on people. I have been flagged for copyright and for harassment by somebody who didn't want me pointing out that his product simply didn't work. It was broken. It was a bad product. And the only reason it now works, because it does, a little bastard, I'm not mentioning who it is, but he's a little bastard, is because I criticized him and everyone yeah, it doesn't work. Why don't you correct it? So anyway, an entire website and company apparently just went down 2006 because they had products that were crap, behavior-wise, that might have produced something useful, including a host file. At the time was a really good way to block crap on the internet, but that's just technically you did something, okay? But flagging somebody, if the double M Plummer here actually did flag this, which I doubt, but if they did it, that would mean you did something scummy. So I downloaded the video because archive.org accidentally recorded the entire video. So I have a copy of it. So I'm going to do a remake of it that has no copyrightable strikes available. I'm not going to get any views. No one cares. I've never cared about you. I wouldn't have even covered this. But you flagged somebody for something if you did this. Somebody flagged somebody for something here that is a bitch-ass thing, and I'm going to go after them. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. You've been warned.